This past week has been a pretty bad one for both Rockstar and the GTA community. Obviously, we got the announcement that GTA 6 was going to be delayed to November 19th of 2026. But Rockstar themselves are also in some hot water right now for something that they did, and I want to talk about that in this video. So last week, news came out that Rockstar had fired around 40 employees from the company, allegedly for leaking confidential information on a private Discord server. That was the reason that they gave, which is important, and we'll come back to that. You may have heard about the protests that were going on outside of Rockstar and Take-Two offices consisting of former employees that were fed up with this. They deny that they were fired because of that reason and think that this is a form of union busting, and that Rockstar fired them under the guise of leaking confidential or company information on Discord when they really just wanted to prevent them from unionizing. There's probably going to be a lot more info in the weeks and months ahead pertaining to this case because I'm sure there will be a deeper investigation as claims of union busting are pretty serious. And it's a pretty awful, if not downright illegal thing to do. And for both parties, the former employees are obviously not going to admit that they were leaking company info through a private Discord. And Rockstar and Take-Two, of course, are not going to outright admit that they were union busting because they'd get in deep trouble for that. But the story gets even more interesting because a Rockstar employee came out and anonymously explained a lot of what is going on right now on GTA forums. He was, in fact, verified to be an employee by Spider-Vice, who is one of the admins on GTA forums, so this is all coming from a reputable source, and this is about to be a lot of information, so here goes. Hey everyone, Rockstar employee of many years here. Understandably, I want to remain anonymous due to retaliation from the company, but I may be willing to verify I'm an employee with Spider-Vice via DM if required. I'm also a member of the union, and which he did verify that he is in fact a Rockstar employee. I've been reading a lot of the discussion on here and elsewhere about the firing of more than 34 of my colleagues last week, 31 in the UK and 3 in Canada, and I've seen a lot of disinformation and lies that are really concerning, particularly concerning how so many folk are willing to believe the company's excuses. Last week, my colleagues who were in the studio were each individually messaged by HR for a short friendly meeting, under the friendly guise of, "Hey, are you free for a quick chat?" Upon attending this meeting, they were handed an envelope with a short letter stating that their employment had been terminated for gross misconduct regarding posts made in Discord. They failed to provide any evidence when asked, nor was any stated in the letter, and did not divulge any other information or reasoning, quote unquote, and no other reason. They refused their right to union representation in the disciplinary meeting, which is against UK employment law, and were frog-marched out of the studio with the meeting lasting less than 5 minutes. For colleagues who were not in the studio that day, they received a phone call from HR that lasted less than 2 minutes, telling them that they were fired and that they'd received the same letter as above. I am aware of one employee who had a panic attack at this moment, and HR hung up on them during this panic attack, not caring at all about their well-being. These colleagues of mine were hard workers who have spent many years at Rockstar in critical roles, with colleagues who have been at Rockstar for more than 18 years and none of them have ever had a disciplinary in that time. They are not easily replaced and will certainly affect us in making our project deadlines. These are very senior artists, animators, QA testers, designers, programmers, and producers, including leads. All super talented people who were proud of their work over multiple Rockstar titles, and all they wanted was the best for Rockstar and their fellow colleagues. Some of these members were off sick, recovering from surgery, or on paternity leave, fired without pay, losing their careers and putting them into hardship in the lead up to Christmas, and even potentially losing their visas to work in the UK. Let me make this clear, I never saw any discussion/leaking of Rockstar projects in the Union Discord. The only ever discussion was around unionization efforts and the working conditions at Rockstar. The Discord was not public, it was a private Discord group that only contained Rockstar employees and the IWGB union officials. This was union busting and nothing else. Everyone fired was a union member. They were also predominantly from those who were on the union organizing committees of each UK studio. Just 1 week before, the union had reached around 200 members, taking us over the 10% threshold required to seek recognition and begin engaging in collective bargaining, allowing us to negotiate directly with management on the key issues that affect us: worsening crunch, inadequate pay, and inflexible working arrangements. They have fired over 34 of us now. There were over 250 of us in that union/employee Discord group. There is the fear that if they get away with this, they'll have nothing stopping them from doing this again and again. Those of us who are lucky and remain for now work in fear. Fearful when talking to each other at the tea prep, fearful that we're next in line and are easily got rid of, too scared to go outside the studio and talk to or even acknowledge our colleagues outside protesting in fear of the reprisals. Morale in the studio is at rock bottom. When we should be excited about what's to come over the next year, we are now totally deflated and our trust and confidence in others is totally shot. Which is the truly heartbreaking part. As for us in the union, all of our ambition was to make Rockstar a happier, fairer, safer, and more equitable place. That is all. What has happened clearly shows that we care more about the well-being of our colleagues at Rockstar than the company does. The union remains unbowed and is fighting to win the reinstatement of every dismissed member of staff at Rockstar through legal means and campaigning. This fight is critical. If Rockstar can get away with this, they will keep treating their workers with disdain, disrespect, and subjecting them to continued illegal treatment. Thanks for your time, and I hope this is some truth that helps you all understand what's going on here at the moment. If you'd be so kind, you can contribute to the fundraiser to support those fighting their dismissal here, and he leaves a link to the fundraiser to help those who are dealing with this very much big problem right now. I'll also have this link down in the description and in the pinned comment as well. It would be really appreciated if you could also share the above link. I won't be cross-posting this to other forums, but please feel free to share. Cheers. Yeah, that was a lot. And based on what this employee has said, it sounds really fucked up, right? All of a sudden, these 30 to 40 employees just get called up by HR or taken for a quick discussion and immediately fired for gross misconduct without any evidence or anything provided to them. Imagine you've been at the company for 18 years in a very high position like a senior artist or a producer, and you essentially get told to get out because you're fired on the spot with little to no explanation. And the thing that makes this seem like this is union busting is just the timing of it and the fact that all of the workers that were fired were from the union. And on top of that, just a week prior that they reached the threshold to be recognized in order to start negotiations for better working conditions. So you're telling me that this is just a complete coincidence that all of these employees were fired that were trying to unionize, and just a week prior to the firings were getting enough leverage in order to start negotiations with management? But no, it was all because they were talking about company info outside of the dedicated channels. That just doesn't seem right to me. That seems like they're trying to cover something up. That's too much of a coincidence for me. And by firing that many people, I guess that would also put them under the threshold again for recognition. Not only that, but it's also a partial scare tactic for the other people who were in the Discord that didn't get fired because now they're afraid of talking about it. As this employee says, the people that are left after this are shaken up thinking that they could be next, or just flat out scared to even talk to anyone about this because they could be fired in that exact same way. A lot of people are speculating that this had something to do with the delay to November 19th, 2026. It definitely did not, though. They likely knew about this delay and that it was coming for a while now. A lot of that stuff is likely planned out internally way ahead of time, and they just went public with it last week. However, as this anonymous employee states, since a lot of long-standing employees in senior positions were let go and fired, that is going to affect deadlines for the project going forward, because how do you go about replacing those very key people in the company? I doubt that means it would get delayed to 2027, like into 2027. It probably is far too early to tell that anyways, but you never know. Now, as of right now, it is Rockstar's word against the current and former employees, but this is still not a good look for Rockstar at all. I am a huge Rockstar Games fan. I love all their games, but this makes them look really, really bad. It's pretty fucked up if this turns out to be true and it is how they're treating their employees. I'll be for sure looking into this as time goes on to see if anything happens with this case because, like I said earlier, I doubt this is going to be the last we hear about this. And to everyone who did lose their jobs in this way, I really feel for you. I hope you get back on your feet in another position as soon as possible because that is awful getting let go, especially with this time right before Christmas. This is a hard time of the year for a lot of people. Let me know what you guys think about this whole situation, though, down in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, feel free to leave a like, as well as subscribe to my channel for more GTA Online content. I also want to give a huge shout out to all of my channel members for your support. If you'd like to become a member for some exclusive perks, you can either use the join button or the link that's down in the description. And as always, thanks for watching, and have a great day.